Hello everyone. We are here again with Dr. Deveriya. How are you feeling today?
Fine.
So, today we would like to cover a bit about the basic overview of Hinduism, cover the basic concepts and jargon. So, people in future videos, when we refer to certain concepts, the audience knows what we are referring to. So, I think let's get straight into it. So, can you just give a very brief, basic worldview, like a bit of overview of what Hinduism is? What is the basic message, and what do we really mean by the word Hinduism?
Yeah. Hinduism is not a religion in terms of the English word religion, which more or less stands for sects.
Okay.
When the word dharma was presented for translation into English, there was no, people failed to coin an equivalent word. So roughly, dharma was translated into religion. The word religion is more akin to sect, whereas the original meaning of dharma in Sanskrit is one's sense of duty commensurate with his level of understanding.
Okay.
And in the present parlance, we can say one's sense of duty commensurate with his present level of evolution.
Okay.
So, when they coined the Sanskrit word, it was not coined deliberately. It existed originally, but for the Western audience, it was roughly translated into religion. They said Hinduism is also Hinduism is the religion of India.
Okay.
So if you remember, when Vivekananda addressed the Parliament of Religions in America, he said, "I am preaching forth a religion of which Buddhism is a rebel child and Christianity a distant echo." And this definition itself requires volumes of explanation. And why Vivekananda said so is the reason that all Western religions or Abrahamic religions or the religions which originated in Middle East, they are all prescriptive religion. That you do this, you don't do this, you do that, you obey these 10 commandments, you don't obey this. And then there were sects in the same religion, they had their own rules. So that way Hinduism is an objective religion and not a prescriptive religion.
Okay.
And in objective religion, the purpose is to convey the real meaning and not the prescriptive meaning or the imposed meaning. And there are so many quotations about dharma in Sanskrit scriptures and in Hindi scriptures, but those explanations do not suffice the basic spirit of Hinduism. So, to come back, Hinduism is not a prescriptive religion.
Okay.
And if it is not prescriptive, if it is objective, then if anything is objective, in order to understand it, one has to be analytical. So, Hinduism doesn't say that do this, do that. They try to convey the truth through logic, and there is a prolonged tradition of polemics. Polemics, that is debating. That if Guru is explaining something, the student will ask him. Guru will not say blindly, I am saying so, you obey this. No. He will say something, then he will say that you can ask me if you have any doubt or if you have any counter logic. Then students ask them. So that is called this question answer proceeded in Upanishads. And the meaning of Upanishad is to sit in the vicinity, to sit in the vicinity of Guru, or simply to sit in the vicinity. So this enabled the student not only to know the truth, but also the analytical background of that truth.
Okay.
That was the thing. So Vivekananda took initiative to explain Hinduism to the Western audience, and he found that there was hardly any equivalent of Sanskrit terms in English or any other European language. So this religion was an approximate translation.
Okay. And so if you had to say that for Hinduism, what if there was one core message or one core belief in one sentence, what would that be?
First thing, for further reference, we will call Hinduism Sanatan Dharma.
Sanatan Dharma.
Sanatan means eternal.
Eternal.
And the meaning, sense of duty commensurate with one's understanding is an eternal phenomenon. If we talk it in terms of biology or Darwin's theory of evolution, then a lion has a different sense of understanding according to his evolution. So, if a lion is hungry, what is his sense of duty? To kill and eat. But that is his sense of duty, and the same that will be referred to as the dharma of
the lion.
Dharma of the lion. So that way they prescribed that Hinduism also has a tradition of varnashram. Varnashram means they classified the human life into 4 ashrams. The first ashram is from the age of 5 to 25, which is called Brahmacharya ashram or Brahmacharya ashram, in which the person is subjected to studies. He is taught basic things, and these things are taught by the Guru in his ashram. And kings, etc., used to invite the Gurus in their city and make separate arrangements for them. So, there they said that, okay, let us study during Brahmacharya ashram, which is from 5 to 25, and after 25, one is allowed to marry, and from 25 to 50, that stage is called Grahasthashram.
Household.
Grahasthashram means household. He marries and then he has to live in house. At that time there were no individual families or nuclear families. There used to be joint families where uncle is also living, uncle's big brother, yeah, your father is also living, parents, grandparents, everybody is living. So they also used to interact and adjudicate as to what their son has learned.
So it was basically the family life in which
Family life.
you take care of your family, raise your children.
Grihasthashram. And after Grihasthashram, from 50 to 75, the third stage of life was known as Vanprasthashram.
Vanprasthashram.
Vanprasth means one means forest, Vanprasth means towards forest. So, Vanprasthashram means one whose vision is in the direction of forest. In the direction of forest. Vanprasthashram. Because it is an initial training about the life in forest. If you have to live in forest, how will you live? You have to make your own cottage, or you may live in some ashram which is already there, and then when you enter the Vanprasthashram, you leave your family. You cease to be a grihastha. At the age of 50, you go to Vanprasthashram, and from 50 to 75, you prepare you prepare in the direction of the
final ashram.
In the direction of the life in jungles.
Okay.
Because one means one prasth means towards, in the direction. So it doesn't mean that the moment you turn 50, you leave for jungle. No. You occasionally go to jungle, you occasionally meet gurus, you also occasionally meet people who live in jungles and again come back home. And at home you live from 25 to, at home you live in the Vanprasthashram, you live from 50 to 75 in the same year, in the same time, during which you stayed home. Vanprasthashram doesn't permit you to leave the house at once. It gives you 5 years time, so that you may acquaint yourself with the life in forest and the purpose of spending life in forest. And after 50, and that continues from 50 to 75. And after 75, you are allowed to leave home. So, because they had been frequent visitors to gurus and forests, so they get some basic idea of how the life is in forest, how to save yourself from wild animals, how to arrange your food, because that time modern cuisines were not available. People used to eat fruits and vegetables. So that was called 75 to 100. Everybody didn't live up to 100, but it was believed that at the most one will live for 100 years. So from 75 to 100, it was called sannyasa ashram. Sannyasa ashram means you have become a sannyasi. You have ceased to be householder.
You have left the materialistic world.
And why sannyasi? Because there is a particular dress code of that ashram, sannyasa ashram. And that code enabled one to practice the life of a sannyasi, and the garb prescribed for that used to be of saffron color.
Was it something like what monks wear? Something like
Yeah. It's is it either it could be a lion cloth or a lungi or some shirt or some say some upper wear like shawl something.
Okay.
So then during that period of 75 to 100 years, they totally devote themselves for the cause of liberation. That they should learn something about life. What is the purpose of life? Why they are living? Whether they will be required to born again, and if they don't want to be born again, then what should be the method of yoga, the method of penance, which may liberate them from the cycle of rebirths.
So you mentioned about the final stage is to learn about liberation, right? So
Preparation for liberation.
okay, and when you talk about liberation, it also connects to the idea of enlightenment or absolute truth. So although no one knows what this truth is, what do we mean when we use these words? What are we really talking about?
You see, first we have to understand the basic concept of liberation. When one dies, we say he has been liberated. No. In philosophical parlance and spiritual parlance, he is not liberated. He has reshuffled his mortal coil.
That's a good.
And when he has reshuffled his mortal coil, it means he will be born in some other body, and for which he will have to wait again, depending upon his psychomagnetic wavelengths. He may choose a womb, a mother's, in whose womb he may enter, wait for 9 months, and he may be reborn. But this birth, if he wants to say enter the womb of a queen, it is not in his hands, because his eligibility for rebirth in a particular family depends upon his deeds in the last birth.
The so-called karma.
Karma, which is termed as karma. So, because if someone is spiritual and had been trying to understand the meaning of life, liberation, or nirvana, what is called, such people may get such a family where like-minded husband-wife live. So he may be born there. But then there is difference between liberation and nirvana. Liberation means one is, by God's grace, one is allowed to be reborn. And again in the next birth he dies, and again he is reborn. But nirvana means you get freedom from the cycle of births and deaths. And the one who gets freedom, or one who is liberated from the cycle of births and deaths, is said to be
Enlightened.
not enlightened, a person who is finally liberated.
Okay.
Will not be reborn. And but this realization that I should seek nirvana depends upon what he studied in his previous births. What was his conduct in previous births? If his conducts were such which demand rebirth, then he will definitely be reborn. Suppose you borrowed crores of rupees from people and you died. So you think that okay, I have died, so I need not repay. No, you will again be born, and you will have to repay to the person. And there is every possibility that you are reborn in the family of the person from whom you are borrowed. There could be other persons also. So when one is free from karmic bond, one is free from karmic bond when one owes nothing to anybody. He has cleared his debts, and here debts doesn't mean only money, means all the karmas. If you have harmed somebody, then you will also be harmed. If you have done good to somebody, others will also do good to you. So that way. So this concept of nirvana was for the first time clearly explained by Buddha. Before Buddha, people used to trust whatever was written in these scriptures. So Buddha defined what nirvana is, and in order to define nirvana, he said, if you have any desire left, if you have any unfulfilled desire, then you will have to be reborn. And if you have discarded all your desires, then only if you are free from each and every desire, each and every expectation, each and every loan, then only you will qualify for nirvana. And again, nirvana is not possible by reading books only. So, when Buddha defined as to how to proceed in the direction of nirvana, he said, expectation is the cause of misery. Expectation means desire.
So I did an exam, I expect I will get full marks.
No, that is okay. If you are learning, you are expecting, it's okay. After your education is over, after your professional life is over, and then if you want more and more money, then again you will be born in a family which earns more and more money. If you have decided that you don't need money, you don't need power, position, anything, I just want liberation. So then, depending upon your intensity for liberation, for nirvana, you may or may not be liberated, because final decision of liberation rests with the Creator.
Okay, and now a trick question. If you have a desire to be free of desires, would it still, is that a paradox or is that a good path to be on?
No, if you want to be free from desire, it is still a desire. But then the person who really wants nirvana is aware that I am not free from the desire for liberation, so I surrender to the Creator and pray Creator that Lord, liberate me from all such desires which may obstruct my nirvana.
Okay. So you still want nirvana, but you would try to be unattached to that want.
You have to be unattached, and lifelong you have been desiring something for births together you had been desiring something. So all those desires are in your subconscious or say unconscious, because unconscious has mostly the story of past, the memory of past births,
That's all the karmic imprints.
karmic imprints. So when one surrenders to the desire of God, that Lord, I hereby renounce all desires, but I have only one prayer, that you be kind enough to bless me so that I am liberated from the cycle of births and deaths.
So also you mentioned briefly about the different scriptures.
Yeah.
So can you explain more about in our Sanatan Dharma?
Yeah.
What are the main scriptures? For example, the Vedas and Vedanta.
Yeah. You see, Hindus at large are confused with religious books because there is something who exalts Krishna, there is some book who exalts Ram, there is some book who exalts some rishi, muni, or some idol, or some goddess, or some god. So, in the jungle of conflicting stories and conflicting opinions, it is difficult to identify who the real God is. And this confusion gave rise to so many other confusions and a chance to others to ridicule Hinduism. In Sanatana Dharma, they said that we don't want so many books which create confusion. So, Hinduism or our Sanatana Dharma originated in Vedas, and originally there were 4 Vedas.
Okay.
You know their names, or should I repeat?
The Rig Ved, Samved, Atharved, and Yajurved.
So 4 Vedas were there, and even those 4 Vedas were very voluminous. And that time there was no printing, there was no recording. So if you want to be scholar of a Veda, you have to memorize the entire Veda. So those who memorized 2 Vedas were called Dvivedi. Those who memorized 3 Vedas were called Trivedi. Those who memorized 4 Vedas were called Chaturvedis.
Oh, that's what. Okay.
And that surname continued. If you ask today's Chaturvedi, the first sloka of Rigvedi, he doesn't know anything. He has inherited that surname, that Kullan name. So, because of the prevailing confusion due to 4 Vedas, all of which could not be studied because they had, if you apply logic, then they may mean different things for different persons. So, when this Buddhism, after the advent of Buddhism, people started converting to Buddhism, discarding Hinduism. And they said there is no precise book which we may follow. So, then I am sorry, that was not after the advent of Buddhism, but that was during the time of, slightly before Mahabharata.
Okay.
So, the scholars decided that we have to make our scriptures compact, so that a one text or two books or three books will suffice. So, and Vedas nobody was reading because of their voluminous contents. So they said, okay, we will reduce the contents of Vedas into Vedanta.
So the Vedon ka ant, the
Yes.
the quintessence message of the Veda.
Yeah. So they said we should sort out, and the quintessence of Vedanta must be culled into one volume or into one set of texts. So accordingly, this was done by the compilation and consolidation. This was done by the fellow who authored Mahabharata. Who is that fellow? Vedvyas.
Vedas.
Vedvyas did it. Vedvyas has some wonderful memory, so he had also memorized everything. So then Vedvyas reduced it, and whatever Vedvyas has done was subsequently revised by his disciples, and ultimately it was interpreted by Shankaracharya.
Okay.
Because Shankaracharya made it more logical. So what they named Vedanta had three texts. First book of Vedanta is called Brahma Sutra.
Brahma Sutra.
Brahma Sutra means sutras which lead you to the Brahma, or sutras which explain the mystery of Brahma. And Brahma means the Sanskrit word Brahma, its full form is Brahman. And there is another word, Brahman, which is a caste of Hindu, which is a caste of Sanatanis who specialized in teaching scriptures, learning scriptures, and for observing rituals for the illiterate ones.
So, but when you say the Brahman here, you actually mean the totality of the universe, or the ultimate consciousness.
So they said that Brahma Sutra is our first authentic text.
Okay.
And its first line is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now begins the quest for the Creator, or the quest for the Brahman. It is not Brahman, Brahman.
Okay.
So then, and that book is logical book. Say, the Guru said that now there begins the quest for Brahman, then he would explain something. Then students will ask, no, as per your logic, the logic that you taught us, this is wrong. Or this is unacceptable, may not be wrong. So then Guru will argue, Guru will reply that in a single line or in two lines. That time the language of communication was Sanskrit. So he would reply in Sanskrit. And so that question, Brahma Sutra is a set of question answers between the Guru and the disciple. And when finally agreed text was incorporated in that, and queries were also incorporated. So this is the first book. But then people realized after some time that Brahma Sutra has certain abstract concepts. So every concept required an explanation for half an hour. They realized that Brahma Sutra will not suffice and it will need another commentary to explain Brahma Sutra. So then they said, let us select some Upanishads. Upanishads were part of Vedanta, part of Vedas. Every Upanishad, every Veda had some Upanishad or the other at the end. So they picked up certain Upanishads. So there are 10 major Upanishads.
Which are?
Which are Ishavasya Upanishad, Ken Upanishad, Kat Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Taitri Upanishad, Aitreya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Brihadaranya Upanishad. So they said that basic text of Sanatana Dharma is first book is Brahma Sutra, second book is number of Upanishads, and there are 10 major Upanishads. Although there were others, so many others were written. In all, the number of Upanishads was 108. But what the scholars and interpreters of Brahman selected that let us select only 10. So they selected 10 Upanishads. So they said okay, but 10 Upanishads also take time. One understands argument, argues about the meaning. So they added one more book, and that book was Bhagavad Gita. What Lord Krishna had taught to Arjuna. So that was in a simpler language.
A bit more accessible to the layman.
Yeah. So these three, Brahma Sutra, Upanishad and Gita, they jointly constitute Vedanta. So there were so many, because Sanskrit was not, although Sanskrit was the religion of Sanatana Dharma, but Sanskrit was not very easy for everybody to follow, learn and speak. So it necessitated commentary in the language which people understand. So in North it was translated into North Indian languages. It means commentary was given in North Indian languages.
Like Pali.
In South, no, Pali is a later development. And in South means in North means Hindi. Basically Hindi. And in South they were translated or recorded in
their own languages.
Four languages, and the oldest language in South is Tamil. So that the explanation given for elucidating the meaning was called commentary. Commentary in English, and in Hindi it was called tika. Tika means commentary.
Okay.
And so different commentaries were written by different scholars. So even in that there was contradiction. Some shlok had a meaning which was absent in another language. But then the text which was considered standard text by scholars was in one or two books only. So scholars, Sanskrit scholars recommended only one or two commentaries. So then when Shankaracharya was born, Shankaracharya realized that Hindus were being converted to Buddhism because the treasure of Vedanta is not available to them. So then Shankaracharya wrote the first authentic commentary of Brahma Sutra, first authentic commentary of Gita, and first authentic commentary of certain Upanishads. So, and the entire set was referred to as Vedanta. So, your question is the basic connotation about Hinduism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is in short the basic concept of Sanatana Dharma or the eternal sense of duty.
Okay, so Sanatana Dharma. And I think also I wanted to ask you, what is yoga? The term yoga, especially in modern day, people equate it to just stretching exercises. But from what I understand, it is a much that's a very surface level interpretation. Yoga is actually more of it's a way to train your mind, body, and spirit to align or to be in a position to understand what is the meaning of life better. So, can you explain more on that so we can dispel any mischaracterizations of this term?
The term yoga was explained by Patanjali.
Patanjali.
And the first shloka that gives a rough idea of yoga is yogash vritti nirodha.
You need to.
Yoga, because of sandhi between yoga and the following syllable, that in simple terms we can say yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta means mind.
Okay.
Vritti means tendencies of mind. Chitta vritti means tendencies of mind.
Okay.
Nirodha. So, yoga controls the tendencies of mind.
Okay. That's why they say it's a way to attain mastery over your body.
No. But so this was, the purpose was to explain what is the function of mind.
To think.
Function of mind, function of chit is to think. And so long as you think, you cannot focus on your quest for the ultimate truth.
Because that is beyond all thoughts.
So because if you indulge in thoughts, then your search stops there only, and some certain other related thoughts crop up. So, but yoga has another advantage, irrespective of thought process. And that advantage is yoga also prescribes certain physical postures and exercises which promote your health or which give you better health, especially the health of body, muscles, and each and every part of the body. If you do those practices, those postures, those exercises, then that has a rejuvenating effect on your mind and body both. But again, that is not full of yoga. Full of yoga is when you are able to inhibit all the tendencies of mind. Means you don't think of past, don't think of present, don't think of future. So you remain conscious. And now, if you can avoid all the thoughts and memories, then perhaps you may have a glimpse of that which is beyond thoughts.
And what is beyond thoughts?
And that what is beyond thoughts is the $1,000,000 question for which people meditate. But there is some basic problems with yoga. Yoga has become, rather, yoga has deviated from its original definition. Original definition is chitta vritti nirodha, prohibition of inhibition of all the tendencies of mind. So it was good, and during the people who entered, who sat for yoga, called it meditation. But meditation on what? You don't know that. So what happens? For a second or two, you are thoughtless. Again, some thought picks up, some memory comes, and again you are distracted. So Krishnamurti gave a wonderful definition of yoga. And that definition is yoga means pure sense of attention without invoking memory.
So it's basically being fully conscious of the present moment.
And you have to be very cautious of what is happening around you, because if something, say, cat has come or a dog has come, so you will start thinking of dog, you will start thinking of why the cat came here. So he said that yoga means pure awareness in the present moment without invoking any memory
or thoughts.
When you don't invoke a memory, no thought can come. But then it is very difficult to live in that state. People try, and some succeed also for a minute or two, but again the circle begins. So they prescribe the procedure that you put your legs like this, your hands like this, some posture they would describe, so that in that posture you will not think of, you don't have the luxury to think of anything, because you are in a particular posture which is already painful. So yoga has as many meanings as the number of interpreters.
And I think that is some pretty good knowledge that you have shared with us. I think one final question that I would ask you is, so this is about Hinduism, or shall I say Sanatan Dharma. There are also other Eastern so-called religions like Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. So could you maybe just briefly mention what they are, how they are different from Hinduism, and how they might be connected, history or philosophy?
Yeah, good question. The thing is that when the quintessence of Sanatan Dharma was not codified into Vedanta, that time people used to read different books and they found this contradictions. So those contradictions, the persons, logical persons who believed more in logic, they rejected the existing text, not the text, but they rejected the prevailing meaning of the text. And they said it doesn't mean this, it means that. So when they said so, and those people who agreed with them, they separated from Hinduism. So they joined the new sect. So when Buddha realized Buddha had to resort to renounce this austerity and penance for so many years. And he read books and then he realized that whatever is written in books is nonsense and unfounded because it doesn't have any definite message for masses.
It's too abstract.
So what happened? Those who agreed with Buddha, they became Buddha's disciple, and the sect was called Buddhism. Similarly, those who agreed with Mahavir, they left the Sanatan Dharma and became followers of Mahavir. The followers of Mahavir are also known as Jains.
Jain, okay.
Jain has originated in Jin. Jin means the person who has overcome his bodily, his desires. Mostly here, one who has overcome his instincts.
So when you say jinn, just to clarify, it is different from the Arabic term jinn, right?
That is jinn. That is jinn. And that Arabic term begins with D-Z. D-Z-I-N-N. This Jainism is concerned with the person who has won over his senses.
Okay.
Say your body wants to eat, or you feel thirsty, you want to do something. So if you can control that, so they used to practice controlling. At times they succeeded in controlling for an hour or two. They thought that if they don't eat or drink, perhaps they will know the ultimate truth. But it was not so. The sects like Buddhism, Jainism, and subsequently Sikhism, they are all born out of the womb of Sanatan Dharma. They are not independent dharmas.
Okay, I think that was a very, very heavy, very knowledge dense session, and I would like to thank you, sir, for your amazing knowledge and yeah.
God bless you. God bless you.
Okay, thank you.